We've been reading from Wilma Rudolph, Olympic Track Star, by Lee Engfer. When we left off yesterday, the women's relay in the 1960 Rome Olympic Games was so close that it was a photo finish. After studying the photos, they declared the United States team had won by 0.3 of a second. 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympics, and the doctors had once told Wilma that she would never walk. Wilma became the most famous female athlete in the world. Fans and reporters praised her graceful running style, her speed, and her determination. Here she is, the Tennessee Tornado. In Italy, they called her La Gazzella, the gazelle. They told her life would never be the same for her. And back in the United States, Wilma received a hero's welcome. Many cities held parades, but the best one was in her hometown. Later, the town held a dinner for Wilma. It was the very first public event in Clarksville, Tennessee, to ever include both white and black citizens. In fact, Wilma would not have attended if it had turned out to be a segregated event. Chapter 4 was called An Inspiration to Others. After her triumph in the Olympics, Wilma gave speeches across the country. She was invited to run in many races, even some meets that were for men only. Then she went back to finish college. By the end of 1961, Wilma was trying to decide if she should try for a 3rd Olympics. Now, what should I do? I don't know if I can run forever. Well, to go back to the Olympics in 1964 and will lose will diminish everything you've already accomplished, thinks her coach. Do you think, will she try for the Olympics again? Or will she decide to stop after those 1960 Olympics? Wilma wanted to choose the right time to end her track career. At age 22, after winning a tough race in California, she knew this was it. It's time to retire with a sweet taste in my mouth. A little boy asked her, "Miss Rudolph, can I please have your autograph?" "Son, I'll do better than that." And she signs her shoes to give to the boy. "Really? You're giving me your track shoes?" In 1963, Wilma graduated from college with a degree in elementary education. That summer, she married her high school sweetheart, Robert Eldridge, and their family grew to include 4 children. After her running career, Wilma wanted to help kids. In 1967, she joined Operation Champ. Wilma and other athletes taught sports to poor inner-city kids. "The most important thing," said Wilma, "is to have confidence in yourself." Later, Wilma started her own company called Wilma Unlimited. She traveled and gave speeches. In 1981, she created the Wilma Rudolph Foundation to inspire young people to take part in sports. Here are a few of her quotes. "I can't" are 2 words that have never been in my vocabulary. "The triumph can't be had without the struggle, and I know what struggle is." "Never underestimate the power of dreams. We all have the potential for greatness." Wilma's success paved the way for other black women athletes. She will always be remembered for her determination and her ability to overcome obstacles. Here are a few more facts about Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Glodine Rudolph was born June 23, 1940. She had 21 brothers and sisters. Her father, Ed Rudolph, had 14 children in his first marriage, and after he married Blanche, the couple had 8 more children. In the 1940s, polio struck thousands of children each year. Polio is a virus that spreads just like a cold. The disease causes fever, fatigue, vomiting, and pain in the limbs. 1 out of every 200 people who got polio became paralyzed. 1 out of every 200. By 1954, polio had killed or crippled more than 350,000 Americans. There is no cure for polio, but a vaccine was invented in 1954 which prevents the disease. So polio is not really something to worry about now, as long as you've had the vaccine. In 1947, when Wilma started school, black and white students in the South had to go to different schools. States usually gave less money to African American schools. These schools got by with fewer teachers. They had older buildings, older books, and poorer equipment. In the 1950s, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregated black schools were not equal to white schools. That was a famous Supreme Court decision called Brown versus the Board of Education, saying that schools must be equal, and segregation was not allowed. In a tour of Europe after the 1960 Olympics, fans went crazy for Wilma. In Cologne, Germany, police had to hold back the crowd. In Berlin, fans surrounded her bus and beat on it with their fists until she waved. They weren't being threatening, they just really wanted to see Wilma. In 1977, Wilma wrote a book about her own life. The book was called Wilma, and it was made into a TV movie starring Cicely Tyson and Denzel Washington. In 1980, Tennessee State University named its indoor track for Wilma Rudolph. That year, she was also named to the Women's Sports Hall of Fame. So, Wilma Rudolph became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in track and field at a single Olympic Games. She instantly became one of the most popular athletes of the Rome Games from 1960, as well as an international superstar. After the Games, she made numerous appearances on television and received several honors, including Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year in both 1960 and 1961. We already talked about how she retired from competition rather than going to the next Olympics. As she explained it, she retired at the peak of her athletic career because she wanted to leave the sport while still at her best. If she did compete at the 1964 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo, she felt that if I won only 2 gold medals, there would be something lacking. I'll stick with the glory I've already won, like Jesse Owens did in 1936. So Wilma went on to teach 2nd grade at the same school where she went. And she went on to coach track at the same high school where she went. And one of her most famous quotes, and one that I think is a great inspiration, is this: "Winning is great, sure, but if you are really going to do something in life, the secret is learning how to lose. Nobody goes undefeated all the time. If you can pick up after a crushing defeat and go on to win again, you are going to be a champion someday." What a great attitude. Winning isn't everything. You've got to know how to lose as well. And losing can be just as informative and just as helpful as winning. From losing, you learn. What a great attitude. Here is a photograph of Wilma with one of her gold records, with one of her gold medals. What an amazing person. It's been a pleasure to read to you about 2 important Olympic athletes, Jesse Owens and Wilma Rudolph. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.